As a roofing professional who's been in the trades for 20 years, which one would I put on my home? When I look at build quality, when I look at aesthetics and color, I prefer Hey, it's John Strand with Block & Ladder, and synthetic slate tile is here to stay. We're seeing this being used all across the country on churches and universities and multi-million-dollar homes. It's a fantastic solution or alternative to traditional slate. Today, we're not going to compare those two. What I want to compare is of the best, what's best for you and which product should you go with. And we've boiled it down after hours of researching the market to two main competitors, DaVinci Roofscapes and Brava Tile. We installed a Brava home and a DaVinci home within a week of each other. And for me, this is really important because if we're going to put our name on any product, if we're going to offer it and take on a project like that, I have to know that it's going to represent our company well, that it's going to reflect our core values, and that it's going to last the duration. So we're going to compare Brava versus DaVinci, which is better, and ultimately help you figure out which is better for you. Boom, got it. So to compare DaVinci versus Brava, there was really no better way to do this than the full dog and pony show. We're gonna run over them with our trucks. We're gonna shoot them with a bazooka. And I'm just kidding. One disclaimer before we jump in, this is not a sponsored video. No money is exchanged hands. Neither manufacturer is going to see this video before it's released. Let's get to the fun part. Time to talk aesthetics. This is my favorite. I love how these look on homes, and I want to talk about why. Both DaVinci and Brava have done a fantastic job on their molds. You can tell they cast these from real slate, and it looks like it's quarried. When I look at the overall edge line, now I will give DaVinci a little bit of a win here. This has some of the striations that you get from natural stone that's been like chipped and hammered and carved. However, when it comes to the edge, Brava's is a touch thicker, and I like how that looks on the home. That's so subtle though that you will not notice that at all. When it comes to the actual shape of the tiles, Brava has, I think, a little bit deeper, some deeper ridges on the surface of the tile itself. So you get a little bit of these raised parts. They just feel a little bit more pronounced. That's going to cast a little bit deeper of a shadow line. Again, this is incredibly subtle, but it's all the little things on these that start to add up for the total experience. When it comes to color, Brava wins big in one category and DaVinci wins big in one category. They color this through mineral pigmentation, and so this does an incredible job of not fading, almost the same way that a rock on the ground doesn't fade very well over time because it's mineral, it's built in. Now, the other thing that I really appreciate about Brava is because of the way they do the compression mold, you can see there's this beautiful, natural, organic, wavy shapes all through here. Every single Brava tile is going to look different because this waviness, it's just randomized and compressed. There are not two Brava tiles that are going to be identical, which I think looks fantastic. So some are going to be really dark, some are going to have a little more of this wavy, some are going to be a lot getting infused with a little bit of this waviness, and I think it gives it a more organic feel. Brava, hands down, has a deeper, richer color. There's more depth in this color, so it's not just darker. You know, I am holding a darker, but if I was holding a lighter gray against this lighter gray, you're gonna notice a richer color that Brava has, and they do win in the color category as far as organic depth and richness of color. That being said, DaVinci wins in the category of color options. They have more colors. They have more colors than any manufacturer on the market. They've been around longer. If you variegate and mix in colors, if you're wanting a certain, like they have a blend called Vineyard. If you're wanting blends, that's where DaVinci starts to really pull away because they're going to be a better fit for you. They'll be a little bit more cost effective, and they're going to give you more variance and more options. And they've got, you know, 4 different shades of gray, and they've got greens and plums and purples. However, both of these companies can do custom color. If you're willing to pay for it, they are happy to dial in. So if you're incredibly particular, which is fine, that's not a bad thing. I appreciate when somebody knows what they want. But here is Brava's Tuscan clay, and this is one of their standard, red colors. But if you need this shade, they can make it for you. This is a custom red, and and I'm not mad about it. You got a little more rust and orange on this Tuscan clay than the custom red here. So if you need like a true apple red, they will make that for you. And one thing I like about Brava over DaVinci is you can do a 10-inch reveal here. Because this is a wider panel, you cannot do a 10-inch reveal here. All right, let's talk about real-world durability and performance. First, both of these are Class 4 rated, which means that is the highest rating that you can attain against hail. There are independent laboratories that rate these and test these, and quite frankly, there should be a Class 5 because this would take the cake as far as class rated materials go. And it's kind of a ridiculous test. They drop a steel ball from 20 feet on the same spot twice, and it has to not crack the back of the shingle to classify as Class 4. A lot of companies will just make a thicker, burlier shingle. It'll be Class 4 the day it leaves the factory, and as soon as it gets brittle on your roof and gets hit by real hail, we will be there to replace it for you. Only ones we're seeing that are really truly Class 4 in the shingle space are polymer modified, and then of course complete polymer composite. Tiles, this is what you want. If you're worried about hail damage and a roof that's actually gonna survive, this stuff is gonna stand up to 2-inch hail and beyond. Both of these are gonna do a fantastic job and perform pretty equally against hail, and I wish there were Class 5 or Class 6 ratings that could tell you a little more, but Class 4 is the pinnacle. It's the best you can possibly get. As far as rain and just your average storm resistance, both of these are gonna perform incredibly well. They both do a great job of shedding rainwater, and they're not gonna sort of off-leash some of the toxic chemicals that you're gonna get from other roofing materials like oxidized asphalt. So if you're somebody who collects rainwater, these are gonna perform better for you in that standpoint. But as far as long-term durability, performance, this is gonna be very close to a tie. I think you're gonna have a beautiful, amazing looking roof for years and years, actually decades to come. So let's compare warranties. I've had several homeowners ask me, what do I think about the warranty? And I told these homeowners I think they're both garbage. Now the good news is they both are 50 years against manufacturing defects, and they do provide a lot of great coverage during the first 10 years. Oxidized asphalt shingle roofing warranties are way worse, and have way less coverage. I think you need to base your decision based on what feels better, what looks better, what you like better. I do believe these are gonna last a very long time. We're talking decades. I do believe if you put on a DaVinci or Brava roof, it's gonna be the last roof that you ever have to mess with, and most likely your grandkids won't have to mess with it. But as far as the actual warranty goes, it's pages and pages of fine print. They are very clearly written by attorneys to protect the manufacturer. They are not really a pledge. Both warranties will be void if you install in temperatures that are too cold. The way most warranties are written is just against manufacturing defects. So if something isn't made right, I believe both of these companies are gonna stand behind that. The biggest battle you're gonna have is, was it put in right? Contractor is going to say we did it right. Manufacturers are going to say no, the contractor didn't do it right. So again, I can't stress throughout this video how important it is that you have a contractor that knows what they're doing, that installs this exactly according to the installation protocols, and that isn't going to cut any corners, going to use all the right materials so that you don't ever have to worry about that battle. You'll notice right away, DaVinci is a shorter panel, so this is a 18-inch length, and this is 22 inches. That does come into play as far as your installation goes, as far as the widths and how much material you're going to have to order. So because this has more material, this does feel a little bit heavier. We haven't weighed these. We should weigh these. Dang it, I meant to go pick up a scale. heavier. So for it to be not even 20%,
to be 50% heavier.
For it to be 50% heavier.
It's about 10%.
And that's what I was saying. I was like, this feels like a beefier panel to me. And I knew it was larger, but I mean, that just feels the weight test. The DaVinci tile is made very differently from Brava. This is through an injection mold process. It's made from all virgin resins, and then they use UV stabilizers and thermal stabilizers. They've got a proprietary blend to keep this from breaking down and having issues, even in areas that are exposed to consistent sunlight, like in Denver or Florida. Brava is done through a compression mold. So you have injection over here, compression over here, so very different manufacturing process. And what I've found is companies that do injection molds will scream bloody murder about how that is the only way, it's far superior, it's the best, and companies that do compression molds will scream bloody murder that is the best and it's preferred. I think both do a fine job of making these look identical to natural slates, and that's what's important here. I think both are gonna hold up because of the material that is being injected or compressed. Once this is in its form, it's gonna hold up and look exactly the way you want it to. And one disadvantage, I think, to injection molding is you can see this little nipple here is from where they had the injection. On the roof that we installed these at basically even width, you know, right down the middle. Now, if you were doing multi-width, this would not be an issue at all, but for me, basically an install that, how do I look? Like this, where, you know, there was an even width right here, and so on every tile from up top, you could see this little nipple. From the ground, you can't see it at all, it disappears. But if you were super picky, like let's say you had part of the roof that you could see down on top of from a second story window, you might notice these if you were doing that exact even width installation, could possibly bother you. On ours, even though we did it that way, not an issue. You cannot see it from the ground, but I do think it's worth noting from a manufacturing process. Now, I want to stick to build quality. If you look at the back here, these are reinforced. There's a rib structure. And what this does is this allows both manufacturers to use less material to get a lighter weight tile, but still have the structural reinforcement so that it's not gonna cup or bend or bow or curl over time, because we don't want that. We want a nice flat structure. We do see cheaper ones will cup, they will curl, and they won't look, you know, they're not going to lay down flat the way you want them to. The other critical thing to understand is if even with these beefy reinforcements, if you don't install these correctly, they're going to cup and curl. You're going to hate how it looks. So it's critical that you have a crew and a company that knows what they're doing. You can see they've got DaVinci has this almost honeycomb type structure, and there's a lot of small reinforcing sections. Now, this doesn't have as many reinforcing sections, but this actual rib is thicker. It's essential too that your builder understands that this is what's underneath, because if you're gonna cut these, and you gotta cut them in half to get that staggered at the start, at the rake edge of the roof. On your rakes and on your valleys, if you cut these in half and have them exposed, you're gonna see this structure. In fact, I'll show you exactly what you see. Here's what it looks like when it's cut in half. And I've seen nice homes. I've seen this on $1 million school buildings. The company didn't know about this. And so that's exposed. And so if you look up the valley or if you look up the rake, this is what you see. Not what you want, especially if you're paying that kind of money for a synthetic tile roof. All right, so which one am I gonna put on my house? Because at some point, I think I am definitely gonna do a mix of synthetic slate and metal, you know, steel roofing. I absolutely love these products. When I look at build quality, I think Brava, I like it a little bit better. When I look at aesthetics and color, Brava again gets another point. I think it's a deeper, richer tone, and assuming they have the color I want, and they do have very nice colors to choose from. I think the overall texture plus the depth of color, I give Brava another point. I prefer the 10-inch reveal to the shorter reveals, because as soon as you put that 10-inch reveal on a roof, it looks like those big, wide, traditional tiles that you want to see, that you're used to seeing. Again, unless I had a very specific cottage-style home and wanted a much smaller reveal. For me personally, for those reasons, I think Brava wins out. I also like that they have a very rigorous, in-depth certification program for their level 1, 2, 3 Brava installers. Projecting lead times, I think Brava had a little bit better finger on the pulse as far as how long their lead times were on their projections versus what we were told at DaVinci. Both companies, I think, are fantastic from a customer service standpoint, and I think they care. I think they want to get it right for you, and I think you'll be happy whichever way you go. Just the attention to detail and the aesthetics on the website, and just been wonderful communication with them. So again, it's subtle if you're going with DaVinci, and we expect to do a lot more DaVinci products. I really believe in that company, and I think it's a fantastic offering. For me personally, I'm gonna go with the Brava just for the overall looks. But that's for me personally, and who cares, because we're talking about your home and your project here. So for you, I think it's going to be very important to sit down with a knowledgeable, experienced contractor who can walk you through and first ask the right questions to figure out what are your goals. What do you want this to look like? What is the architectural style of the home? What is the color palette of the home? These are all very important, critical factors that are going to determine on whether I'm going to suggest a DaVinci or a Brava product. And even though I might like Brava better for my home, there's a lot of homes where DaVinci is going to be the better fit. And ultimately, having somebody that can help walk you through that is going to be important. Yep. Thanks for watching. I'm John Strain with Locke and Ladder, and I'm going to relax by this fire.